Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about No One Lives, starring Luke Evans. And here it is, the Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. Got this for Christmas. And I know it wasn't a really well-received movie, but I discovered my love for Luke Evans as an actor after watching Dracula Untold. And so I was just a lot more interested in checking out more of his stuff. And so him as basically a serial killer really drew my interest. And I know it's a WWE Studios film and stuff like that. And yeah, honestly, those are usually very good. But I honestly thought No One Lives was a pretty good horror movie, really. Horror, action, stuff like that. Um, of course, there's tons of violence. There's a good amount of gore and things like that. So that'll please that side of you as a genre fan and stuff like that. There's plenty of that. But what really makes it is what I bought it for, is what I chose to watch it for, and that is Luke Evans. This guy is absolutely brilliant in this role, I think. Like I said, the movie didn't get received very well, but a lot of movies that us horror fans like sometimes aren't really well received critically and stuff like that. But, hey, if you guys don't like it, okay, but I enjoyed it actually quite a bit more than I thought I was going to, really. Um, it's a pretty simple setup. Basically, this supposed couple, is driving and they stop in a diner, and, they basically both get kidnapped or basically held by this gang or this group of criminals. But then you find out that the guy, the male dude that gets captured is actually a seasoned, serial killer, which is Luke Evans' character. And, I thought his character was actually really interesting. He's a definite sort of bad guy among bad guys in this movie. These guys just bit off a lot more than they could chew when it came to, going against Evans' character in this movie. And, they end up discovering, this girl in his trunk, he seen something in. And, I thought Evan's character is really complex and actually pretty interesting, in my opinion. He has this whole way of sort of drawing people in, because the first girl that he was with, who the gang mistaked for as, his girlfriend or wife or something, it seemed like she actually had some genuine feelings towards him, but then as he heard her talk more about it, it was like this weird way he probably manipulated her to think that way. But then some things he said to her, like how she's the world to him or something like that when they're talking to him in the diner. I actually think he's genuine with how he feels for people. He was saying at the beginning how he processes things differently. He doesn't necessarily have no emotions. He just it goes through him in a different way. And so I thought it was actually a somewhat interesting study of psychopaths or sociopaths, or whatever he was, or is, I should say. I really thought his character was intriguing in this movie. He was the definite highlight. Definitely one of the most interesting killers I've seen in a movie for quite a while, I think. Like I said, there's not much in the way of plot once the gang members discover the girl, hidden away in his trunk, and apparently this is a special one, this is one that he has really has invested in interest in. And so when they take her and she starts warning them, oh, he's going to kill you all, I actually thought it was really kind of funny when she kept on pointing out, like, these the stupid things they're doing, or the stupid ideas that they're getting to try and escape, or, to try and go after him or something, as he was kind of stalking him around the house, which I thought was really cool. And we do have one, now former WWE superstar in this movie, and that is Brodus Clay. He plays the gang's leader's brother. He plays a character named Ethan, and he doesn't last very long. The way he's killed is pretty brutal. Luke Evans basically ends up using handcuffs on him, like, into the jaw, so it's pretty brutal. And you could see how upset Evans' character was when that first girl, cut her own throat, and she basically said she couldn't do this anymore. She couldn't, I don't know, it was really, they're both pretty twisted, it was really twisted reasoning with that. And it really made you ask a lot of questions about their relationship and things like that, I think. My cat's moving around, of course. But, and so really, Brodus Clay serves as Luke Evans, first, like, brutal kill out of his complete rage, I think. So that was really cool. And how he gets into the house the rest of the criminals are staying at, or hiding out at, was really awesome, too. I watched a trailer before I watched the movie, and I think I might have seen like a... Wait, no, it wasn't a trailer. The title screen, it kind of showed how he was going to show up at that house later. Like the menu was like flashing different parts of scenes and stuff like that. So I kind of knew this was going to happen, but I still thought it was pretty awesome. He basically somehow got himself into Brodus Clay's, stomach, or like his just body, wrapped himself up in it. Then he basically emerges out of him once they drop the body off in a little building they have outside of the house, and he's just covered in blood. And then the girl, Emma, she just opens the door and she sees him standing a distance away in the dark, covered in blood, and just staring at the house. It was really awesome. As far as the acting goes, I said Luke Evans is great in this movie, and he is. He's the definite highlight. As far as the rest of the acting, it's okay. It's not anything special, I'll admit. But they definitely could have picked actors, dollar actors, I think. I think the actors did a decent job with this movie. Like I said, there wasn't really much for them to go on. They were pretty simple as far as characters and stuff, but I think they could have definitely picked actors with less personality than the ones they had in this movie, so it wasn't too bad. We also seen Lindsey Shaw as the gang's leader's daughter. Lindsey Shaw I recognize as Mose from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide on Nickelodeon. So it was kind of funny to see her in a movie like this. And she's really the only one with an actual soul, as Emma says later in the movie. When she gets killed off eventually. Mose, I mean, not Emma. But, there's plenty of brutal kills in this movie as well. And like I said, Lee Tergesen, he plays Hogue. He's the leader of the criminals. And he ends up getting killed and basically dropped into this meat grinder type of... Not really, or like a wood chipper type of thing. I don't know exactly what it was. But it's just really brutal. Like Evans first puts this side of his head down and it chips his ear off. It was really brutal stuff. It was awesome though. So there's that. There's plenty of other brutal kills in this movie as well. And my cat's at the door. Hey, say hello to the camera. I don't know if she's going to stay up here, but it's worth a try, right? Anyway. Plenty of brutal kills in this movie. And, basically, there's also the character... Of course she didn't stay up there. But there's also the character of Flynn, and he was sort of like the hothead of the gang and stuff like that. He ends up being the final male character left alive in this whole ordeal. Kitty's at the door again. I apologize, guys. Like, at first you think the Flynn character, he might have somewhat of a heart in him, but no, because he basically ends up trying to basically molest Emma later on, but luckily Emma is able to take her stand at the same time. That's when Luke Evans' character shows up again. And why I keep on saying Luke Evans' character is because we never really find out his name. When he takes the first girl of his that gets killed, the guy points out that he has like a unique name, but we never really hear it even at the end of the movie. Like the Wikipedia calls him, Luke Evans' driver, probably because he's just the guy driving, I guess. But so let me know if they actually said his name at one point or not. I don't think they did. But the ending was also pretty intense as well, I think. because, of course, this movie almost fell into that stereotypical final girl versus killer cliche. You know how the killer's like so brutal or so smart or strong, but then somehow this final girl gets so lucky and somehow manages to kill him. That almost happened in this movie, and I was going to be kind of irritated by that. But luckily, the writers in this were able to choose a more unique and interesting way of ending things, and I actually really enjoyed it. And like I said, Flynn ends up being the final guy along with Emma, of course, who's not a guy, you know that, but so it's him and Emma, as Luke Evans is coming after him. And we actually get a pretty awesome fight scene between Luke Evans and Flynn. And, it's back and forth, really brutal hits and stuff like that. I thought it was awesome. It was also cool to see Luke Evans use basically that crossbar, that harpoon type of thing, with like the string at the end, or the rope, to drag off Hogue earlier and stuff. But anyway, so pretty awesome fight scene at the end between Evans and Finn. And Evans actually manages to grab the weapon at the end, but as he's about to fire on as Flynn's about to fire on Evans, Emma actually knocks him out. And at first, Evans, he's really impressed by this change in his special, person and stuff like that. But Emma says she basically wanted the honor of killing him, and the honor of killing him shouldn't belong to some petty criminal type of guy and stuff like that. And she actually goes to fire, but it turns out that's a pump action shotgun, and so a shell wasn't pumped into the chamber, and so the gun doesn't fire on time. But then actually Evans actually seems impressed by the fact that she was willing to do that, or that she was able to gain an advantage over him. So in some form or fashion, she somehow gained his respect in a sense, because as we've seen in a flashback earlier, he actually cut his own neck area to test her and see if she would actually let him die. And at this point, she was actually going to kill him had she reloaded the gun correctly. So he was impressed by her, and he actually, this mark we kept on seeing on the women Evans' character had, even on the first one, it turns out he puts trackers in each of them, and he actually dug the tracker out of her, and he told her she's free. And he goes and he blows off Finn's head with the shotgun, which I thought was awesome. And then the guy who was running the hotel shows up, and Evans has to kill him too because he knew his name. Killers get that. We understand. So that was all right. I still don't think we found out his real name. Again, comment below if they did say it at one point. But and also there's this the boyfriend to the leader of the gang's daughter. He was actually one of the quieter ones. He was kind of shy and not as upfront and tough and as much of an asshole as some of the other ones. He was thought to be killed starting a car earlier, but he actually just got some of his face chipped off again by being pushed into the the motor and stuff like that, around the motor. I don't know cars that well. But he was basically dropped off at a hospital earlier on, and Evans finds him right at the end of the movie. And he whispers, "No one lives." He comes in disguised as a doctor. He whispers it, and he basically just, he pushes this clipboard into his neck until it just kills him. And that was really awesome, I thought. And it plays some pretty cool music. He actually sees Emma being wheeled into the hospital on a stretcher, and he sort of grazes her arm as he walks away. And that's pretty much the ending. So overall, I actually thought it was a pretty awesome movie, a pretty bloody, fun horror flick, in my opinion. The Saskas actually enjoyed this one too, or at least Jen Saska did. I remember seeing her post about it on Facebook a while ago. It's definitely a bloody good time, I think. Like I said, plenty of violence, but I also thought Luke Evans' character and his performance really made the movie something that actually stands out to me. I'd watch Luke Evans in anything at this point, from seeing how good he was in Dracula Untold to seeing him in this. I'm even willing to watch him in Three Musketeers or something like that, I hope there is a sequel to Dracula Untold, by the way. That has to happen. overall an awesome movie. Not the greatest acting, excluding Evans, who I think was brilliant. But, it was all pretty passable. And like I said, the actors they did choose for the other roles could have been worse than they were. Violence was there, and the ending wasn't generic or stereotypical or anything, so I give it credit for that, too. So, I don't really think there's anything not to, like about this movie if you're a fan of the genre, at least. So, really interesting killer, too. I liked his, system and his way of actually giving people a chance in a way if they earn his respect in a sense, you know what I mean? If he would take an interest in you anyway. So, and I also thought he had a way of moving too, the way he would like dodge hits, that's really smooth, I thought it was awesome. Like I said, it almost fell into that cliche of the final girl getting lucky, because he was somehow less physically capable when he was trying to go after her at the end in a way, but it turned out alright. It was still a really good ending, I thought. But overall I really enjoyed this one. I'm happy to have it in my collection, and I recommend you watch it too. I know not everyone's gonna like it, but I did. So I'll catch you guys next time tomorrow I'll actually be doing 2 videos tomorrow. Of course, the 100 Season 3 premieres tomorrow night, and I'll be reviewing that right after the episode airs. But before that, I'm also going to do a video talking about my top 10 favorite characters of the show as well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this video. I'll catch you guys next time for that. And, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for insfolded.com. Peace.